anyone who has clicked onto this random commentary test video that I'm doing here. More or less, if you're here, whether just to, I don't know, watch someone ramble on and draw, or whether you're reading my comic, or you just, I don't know, fell down a deep dark hole on YouTube and ended up here anyway, welcome regardless. What I'm going to start this off with, so basically my intention here will be to redraw this particular page of my comic, which is, pull it up now, it's very old, it's about 3 years. It needs massive amounts of work. So as part of my redraw for this one, which is page 30, which was done in 2019, I'm going to be going through step-by-step commentaries in real time, about 15 minutes of video, just to show exactly what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, a little bit of the process in case anyone wants to see how I do a certain style, a certain technique, or they just want just bits of random artistic, I wouldn't say advice, because I don't think I'm qualified to advise anyone, but just a little bit of how I'm doing what I'm doing. So just for a bit of background, although this is no way a qualification, I technically do have 3 degrees and diplomas for art, fine art, illustration, etc. But I'm just here doodling, like you do. So what I'm trying to do now, there he is, pretty much just the sketch here. So we've got original line arts under here, so we've got a low opacity. So this is the one that I drew 3 years ago. Style has completely changed since then. Anatomy has improved massively. One thing I always say to people is you do get better. Even if you look at your work now, think it's awful, doesn't matter. It will get better, always. As an artist, you improve constantly. There is no such thing as an artist which has stopped improving. There's always something to learn. So what we're doing here is just fixing up the sketches. Because of the pages are technically already drawn, so like this page here, it's already drawn. I already know exactly what I want from it. So I've already got the layout and everything. The anatomy on these pages actually isn't so bad. So I've pretty much sketched over it, just fixed a few bits here and there on the legs, which are going to need fixing a little. The head's the big problem. So what I've done here is copied and pasted from my little collection. So this is a little something that I do on all my comics now. So I have pages like this. So this here is a reference page as far as I'm concerned. It's got all these different, some of them are on different layers, sometimes it's all on one, is whatever it is. We've got all these different faces. So this means every single time I draw Cage, his face here is going to be exactly the same. So we're going to have no problems trying to keep the consistency. Like, that was a huge problem I had back when I started doing this 3-4 years ago, was purely consistency. So to fix that, we now have, so this is Cage's head page, this is Hotch's head page, which just has a couple, but it's also got the colours. Because once you start colouring the comic, you start mixing the different colours, it starts getting a bit wishy-washy and it gets hard to pick the exact colours up a second time. So I try and do that now. So this one here, copied and pasted, has started a new layer. So obviously underneath here, this is the base sketch. Super sketchy is what it is, sketch. Over the top of that would be a detailed sketch, but I don't really do sketches anymore. It's pretty terrible. I just kind of draw, so I'll just be showing you that once I hit the line art. I'm sure I'll get to the line art during this. I see no reason why not. Unless I really struggle with drawing Hotch here. For some reason I'm honestly, I'm so good at drawing animals sometimes, but people still massively confusing. So let's see. So as I was saying, can only improve. So hopefully, when I draw her up here a second time, she does look better. One thing I did notice with the old images is general anatomy on her was not very good. It was all over the place. The clothes were not quite right. Facial expressions, as with all my pages, not very good at all, but really improve. Ooh, there we go. That's, I guess, a kind of skirt, maybe. I don't know. We'll see what happens when I get to the lines. To be fair, the lines is where I pretty much do everything. I know lots of people do a full sketch. I'm not. I don't do that. When I've kind of got to the stage with these comics where it takes 4 or 5 hours to draw a page, and I don't want to spend an extra 45 minutes drawing the line art twice because I want to draw a perfect sketch. That's really not something that I'm looking to do because it just takes so long. It's really not worth my time. But if you want to do that, I mean, it's all up to you. This is just me. Like, as I've probably said before in this is just how I do things. This isn't so much me telling you what you should do, how you should do things. A lot of the time, I do just generally cut corners, just because I know I can. I've got to the point where I've drawn this so much. I've been drawing wolves for around 15 years, for example. I could just draw things without a sketch. So, like, I won't need to sketch any of this, any of the feet or anything. I will be able to just draw from that. But I know a lot of people are not going to do that. They're going to need to sketch it. And I mean, there's no problem with that. If it means that you're happier with your image and if in the end your piece is better looking, go for it. But I'm at the point where I've done it so many times, it's kind of like a muscle memory type situation. It's really, you'll see that a lot of this is really not something that I'm going to sketch at all. I'm just going to line art it. Ooh. Okay, so there I am with my wonderful little cheat. Get that in there, get that all to scale, everything's looking correct. Yep, there we go. In these ones, it's the old image, so she's got her little hat. Ooh, that should be there. Okay. Okay, well, that was a bit too long. There we go. So it does help to sketch. If I just full on draw this with a line, it's not gonna work out. So one thing I do definitely sketch is clothes, because honestly, I'm very much a novice at clothing. Probably always will be. Clothing is not something that I've never really studied it, never really interested me much, but luckily, by the looks of it, oh, now this panel is going to be a bit of a pain because full body and she's in an awkward position, but we'll get to that when we get to that, I guess. So, looking at the time, I'll probably just be able to sketch, to be honest. This might end up being a bit of a longer video. I might try and hit 20 minutes, just so I can show the lines. I kind of don't want to. As interesting as watching me sketch probably is not, I don't want to skip straight onto the lines, but I might just do that. Because my intention with this is going to be, obviously you don't want to watch me draw every single inch. You don't want to see me do every single line. That's not worth watching. So I'm going to do this. So it's going to be some images going to show sketching, so I'll show a full sketch of a section, maybe, and then the rest of it I'm just going to sketch on my own time and then bring you back for. It's not really worth seeing every tiny little panel, especially this one's an easy one, it's only got 3 panels. On the big pages, you definitely don't want to sit there and watch me draw 20 different little sketches. So, obviously, new layer for lines, as per always. Right, let's see. So, with my lines, I always use around 6.7 as my baseline. So this is my base thickness. So this is in all my comics to keep everything consistent. After this, I do line weighting, which I will probably get around to in this video, maybe, hopefully. But basically, this is the baseline, so there's my basics. So check which direction his eyes should be going. Should be going up. And that's not up. That's up. Okay, and this is what I mean by like, I don't need to draw every little bit. I kind of know what these animals look like, what these characters look like now. I can pretty much freehand them if I really need to, and I can do it quite fast as well. Now it's not working. Oh yeah. Says I can do it fast and completely flops on a line. Classic. There you go. So this here, pretty much how I'm going to be doing this. But as you can see, I do go kind of fast with the lines. And my actual style, you've got like gaps here, a bit wishy-washy. That is because I know some people can't stand having gaps in the lines because generally they are using a fuzzy select or they're using a bucket tool or something. I sit there, you'll see it later on if I make these other videos and you watch them. When I color in a bit more of a traditional style. I sit there and I paint every little bit and I erase around the lines. Nobody really does that because it's a pain in the ass. But for my style, I have found that is the best. It gets the exact effect that I want. It's the exact style that I'm comfortable with now. And honestly, it doesn't take that much longer the way that I do it. It took absolutely hours before. It's now only a couple of hours. It's not that bad. Definitely worth it though. I think at least. Don't know how much tapping you can hear from my frantic button pressing. Because obviously hotkeying everything. Hotkeys are so good. Need them while drawing. Just frantically tapping the H and the B button. There we go. And that eye's a bit special, but at least I can draw the other eye, I guess. Yep. Oh yeah, it's a face. Magical. It's a bit of an awkward face. I don't know quite what's off. I'm going to assume it's this eye, so... Ooh, it's kind of a weird... I know what it is. I'm going to have to deal with this. See, when you're doing a comic, you want to get right up in there like this, but that's not always good. You want to step back, have a gander, have a look at the whole thing. It's like he looks good like this, he looks good like that. If I flip it, he still looks, I mean, it's a bit weird, but he still looks good. I'm hoping people aren't going to be flipping my comics, because that's probably going to show loads of problems. But here you can see, this is what I was talking about. So this is a foot. Doesn't look like a foot. I haven't sketched a foot. But what I'm going to draw from this foot, because I have been drawing this for literally my entire life, is a foot, a paw, which hopefully I'm not going to mess up just because I'm recording it. Would not be surprised. Oh, and then we'd have a little bit there as well. There we go. That there is what I mean by I literally don't sketch. Because not really much need when you can just draw like that. So, ooh, coming up to the 15 mark. Oh, do you know what? I'm thinking I draw a little bit slower than I had anticipated. So I'm going to keep going with this video. I'm going to skip to the end of the lines on this, just so we can see what all the lines look like, so that I can get onto the line weighting a little bit, so that in the next video I'm going to go on to, I think we're going to go on Okay, let's see. Ah, there we go. Headset has woken up. Right. What you likely didn't hear there with my 2 minutes, 3 minutes of silence, is well, basically I'm doing. I don't know what's recorded and what hasn't. So if I'm going over this twice, I do apologize. So basically, what we've got here, single panel. So this is the whole lines. So we've got the character line art and the background line art. It's all the exact same value of 6 to 6.7, which makes the image really flat. Characters don't stand out. And obviously this character here in front is in front. This character here in back is behind, but you can't see that because it all has the exact same depth value. So to fix that, I go over with line weighting of double approximately. So I use generally 9 to 10 on a size brush. So I want to always go for the eyes first. That's just a little style thing of mine, but you don't have to. I mean, you don't have to do anything that I'm doing. This is pretty much just my style, how I do things. But to really make these two characters stand out, so you'll see the difference here. I literally just do some little bits on the face here where the characters overlap. And this should create a kind of slight illusion. And that will be thicker lines bring an image forward, so it's closer to the camera as how I like to see it. So these sections here will be more obvious, but I also use it for shading, which I'll show you in a second. So that there, this character, all of a sudden pops forward. This character is quite clearly in front of this other character now, which you wouldn't have expected before. So we've got those there, then also a little bit here. So this here is what I mean by shading. So this area down here is darker, so it's thicker. So the foot here, a little bit down here, just makes, so you'll start seeing a kind of depth and shadow on just a line arted image. Now, this is something which can take a bit of time to get to know. I've been in and out of art school for decades, so unfortunately for me, this is pretty drilled in at this point. So got that. I mean, it's a bit heavy there, but it is what it is. It should be fine. A little bit here just to make this ear stand out in front of the rest of the body. Ooh. There you go. You just need a little bit of a line as well. So I could technically go over everything, but I just think it's too much. If you go over everything, then it doesn't make it so special. So if I was to go over all of these lines here, that stops this from popping out. So it pretty much makes it obsolete, and you don't want to do that. You want to keep this. So I'd probably say around 30-40% of the image, maybe at the most, you want to do a bit of this. But it depends on the image, depends on the style, massively depends on so many different things. So like this little corner here I'm going to do just so you can see that the areas here and here, character, this is not character. So that pulls the characters away from the background as well, because the background does not have any line weighting. So this is going to remain as a flat line. While the characters, you can already see, even though I've just done this tiny little bit, your eye is already automatically drawn to this area of character. It also, I think, adds a bit more interest in, even though the lines on here are not exactly, so they taper off a little, they're not exactly a thick, chunky, single width line. I find digital does not have quite the same as a traditional, so you don't have all those different widths, different textures and feelings of the pen line. But doing this, you can kind of mimic it to an extent, but you get a bit more control on where exactly you want that thickness. You can really make it so that the thickness really goes exactly where you want it to be. I'm not going to do this whole thing because I am just rambling on at this point. Basically, that is sketch to line art on how I'm going to be doing this. This is how I do all my pages, or all my redraw pages, that is, anyway. And this is my cartoon comic style. I'm going to be doing hopefully 2 or 3, probably not 3, maybe 2 more, showing the whole process on how I get from here to the finished comic page. And those should be hopefully pop in a couple of days. If I can record it, it shouldn't be too difficult because I'm just recording it in a single go, no editing, because I want to get these done as a commentary as I'm doing it and to show the real time. Because sometimes I watch speed paints and I can't see what's going on. It's far too fast. But here you can really see me really slowly sketching little bits and bobs. But if you continue watching, I don't know if you can subscribe if you really want. And I will be posting hopefully over the next week or so the whole thing, so you'll be able to watch this from sketch to finished piece. I may or may not be doing more of these. I tend to not really record me drawing, just because if it's a lot of hassle, it kind of kills the flow a little bit. Vibes are definitely not on. But if this helps anyone at all, or is interesting in any way, shape, or form, I'm up to do it just to see what happens. So I guess I'll see anyone in the next video. If not, I don't really mind. Go for it.